our topic number 1 of the course, Cognitive Neuroscience of Reading and Theta State Activation. What is cognitive neuroscience? What is theta state activation? Everything I'll be discussing one by one, right? So by the end of today's session, you will see that reading is not something which is called as a passive activity, but it is the coordinated performance of the brain, right? Now the question arises, let us discuss the first part of our today's session, which is the cognitive neuroscience of reading. What is that? Or very often, whenever I use the term which is cognitive neuroscience of reading, I basically mean is the scientific study of how the brain transforms, you can say the inked things, means the text, or you can say the pixels, which means the visuals or something like that, right, into something which is meaningful. Okay, so it is not about the words only, it is about the kind of timing and the way different brain regions or different parts of the brain, they cooperate to make the reading possible, right? So reading is basically a simple act, it is very rightly said. But what is cognitive neuroscience of reading? This is the field that explores the brain mechanism, the neural pathways, and the cognitive processes involved when we read. So you can basically think of it as, taking apart the engine to learn how to tune it. Now, if I ask you a simple question, what have you read last and you still remember? Can anybody share? No. I am just asking in general. Let's suppose you read some newspaper, or you saw some news, or you checked something at Google or something like that. Do you remember?
Yeah.
What is that?
I recently checked about my exam update for my daughter.
Okay, you checked your exam update for your daughter. All right, very fine. Now see, why do you particularly remember that? Why particularly Amudaji was able to remember that she recently checked, the exam date for her daughter? Basically, this remembrance or this retention is the part of the brain events that we are going to map out how. Okay, anything that we read recently, or anything we are familiarized with recently, in which if there is the sequence of brain events are involved, then only we are able to retain that in our mind. So therefore it is not just about seeing the words. So reading is not only seeing the words, this is about the symphony of the brain regions that are working together. So that is the synchronization of different regions of the brain that are working together. Okay, so see, the eyes and the visual cortex part of the brain, they basically recognize the shape of the letters. Now on your screen, all of you can see that this word is recognize, this word is letters, this word is and this is words. So how you are able to do that? Let me just explain by taking your example. Along with your eyes that are looking on the screen right now, along with the eyes, there is visual cortex part of the human brain that basically reads the notes, right? So one region that is going to recognize the shape of the letters, and another, it is going to speak the sound of the word. Even if you are looking on the screen, just try to do this thing practically. All of you read the first point. Even in your mind, if you read, although you are not speaking, but certain sound is already in the brain. There is a sound which we also call as the inner voice or something, whatever you want to say, that basically recognizes the letters. That is the one functionality. And the second functionality is, you are inside your brain, you are listening to that sound, recognize letters and words, right? Secondly, convert them into sounds, which I told you the second process. Assess their meanings. Now if any section is out of tune or something new, then instantly our brain knows that this is something new. And if I say you, let's suppose I have encircled this word brain, You can see this word and your brain gives you, the natural signal. That brain means the human brain, the dimag, which we call in Hindi, right? So this is assessing the meaning which you already know, that creates a sense of familiarization, and something which is new, that your brain automatically starts to explore what is this. You check at different sources, you check, different books or something like that, right? So build sentences and paragraphs into a coherent understanding. This happens actually by reading. First step is we recognize the letters and the words. The familiar ones, the known ones, sounds are automatically created in the human brain. We access their meanings, and likewise, when words are clubbed together, they become sentences and paragraphs, and this leads to the coherent understanding, right? I give you one layman example from our daily lives. Yeah, this would be best. When you skim a news headline, right, you immediately get the point. You are not reading loudly the newspaper, you are just skimming the headline of the newspaper, the people who read newspaper in the morning, right? So you get the point, and as well as what could be inside that, you really get that. So how you are able to get that? First happens is the letter recognition. Then what happens is the subvocal sounds. Let's suppose you are reading English newspaper, or you are reading, some native language or local language newspaper. You get the words first, then their sounds. Instant meanings are then in your, mind. The brain retrieves the familiar meanings, and you are able to make coordination. What is the news headline, right? All right. So now the key brain regions that are involved. Okay, since it's our topic one of our course, so I would like to emphasize one very important thing. You all are in the teachers training program, so you are being trained as educators. So therefore, all such kind of technical things that I'll be sharing with you, these need not to be explained to your students. Please note, this is, I have put up in every topic the technicality, so that after completing this course, if you sometimes, read a word like Broca's area, so you should not be blank that, okay, what is that? I don't know. You should have the idea of that. This is, something add on that I have added in every topic just for your reference. Okay. So when we are reading, what are the key brain areas that are basically involved? First, we call as the VWFA, which we call the visual word form area. Now, this is the brain's, you can simply, in simple words, you can say this is the word detector of the brain. I'll just write here. In simple words, VWFA is called the word detector of the brain. Now, this is basically, tuned by the reading experience to spot the letters. The first step of reading, which is spotting or analyzing the shape of the letters, the words and everything, where it is done. This is done in VWFA, which we also call as the word detector of the brain. Second one is the angular gyrus. Now, what is angular gyrus? Angular gyrus is basically, it helps to fix or glue the visual words to form the meanings. Now, first step was we see the word pattern, that is done by VWFA. Now, once I have looked, let's suppose these are the two words. I just want to read them. First, I have seen the pattern. It is KEYBRAIN, right? Second one is I just need, this visual to stay in my brain, so that I can relate it to the meaning. That do I know the meaning of key? Do I know the meaning of brain, right? So where it is done, where, these visuals or the words, basically they are glued so that we can understand the context, so that we can understand their meaning. That happens in angular gyrus. Okay. Third one is the Broca's area. This is basically, in simple words, if I say, it is classically linked to speech production. Broca's area is classically linked to speech production. It's, heavily involved whenever that inner sounds of the words that we listen in our head. So whenever language needs certain kinds of sounds, let's suppose now I am speaking to you. you look at the screen and you read with your eyes moving only, still there is certain inner sound that you can hear, right? So what is related to speech production? That is the Broca's area. Next is the Wernicke's area. Now, Wernicke's area is basically, it helps to translate the word into certain forms that we can, understand the meaning, and it supports the language comprehension. Now, this is the area that is going to tell me I know the meaning of key in Hindi, which we call chabi. And brain, this is the organ of human body. So where does this comprehension, means where does this understanding takes place? It takes place in the Wernicke's area. Last part of the brain involved in reading is prefrontal cortex. Very relatable thing, to explain prefrontal cortex is the, you can consider the manager, right? The role of the manager is played by the prefrontal cortex, means to make inferences, to hold the target, that why I am reading this, I am reading something, what is my purpose of reading this? So these are the 5 organs of our human brain that are involved when we are reading. I'm again repeating, no need to teach these parts to your students. This is for your additional understanding, because you are being trained as memory trainers, right? So you must know, you must be familiar with these kinds of terms, so that if you read them somewhere, you are not blank. Okay, now the question arises, why should you care about the brain science behind reading? Why I am telling you that you must be aware about the brain science? See, because understanding the brain science which is involved behind the reading, it gives you the leverage. If you know which part do what, so you can design the reading practices that speed up automatically. Let's suppose some student struggles with word recognition, then you can design the technique accordingly. If let's suppose there is some student who takes a lot of reading stress, right? So what to do in that situation, I'll be telling you in coming sessions one by one, right? So therefore this is not something very technical or not theoretical, but it is directly useful whenever a student is reading his or her academic subjects, whenever there is some research reading going on, some technical comprehension is going on, or any kind of reading which is complex, which is to be used for result oriented or something like that, that plays the significant role. Now, what are the different things where the key ideas play a important role? Let me just tell you one by one. First is optimizing learning and instruction. Now, therefore, see, teaching the letter patterns or morphology, basically this, how to optimize the learning and instruction. So you must know that the learning and instruction that happens as BWFA part of the brain. So as an educator, you will have the idea that which part of the brain is involved in what phase, right? So addressing reading difficulties, target the weak links, that what is the thing that the student basically lags in. Is it something the mind state or focus or whatever is hampering in that? Is it the subvocalization that is affecting the whatever student you are training? What is subvocalization? I'll come to that. All these the reading difficulties, what is the actual problem, you can only figure out if you are aware of these things. Enhancing the comprehension and the speed. Now see, whenever we want to work on the reading speed as well as comprehension, what targets you need to focus on? Where should you do the focus on? Like as an educator, let's suppose I know that prefrontal cortex is the manager, so all the kind of pre-reading strategies are to be made accordingly, right? Lastly, lifelong literacy. As adults, we can still reshape VWFA, semantic networks, and different reading skills. But the child is already the learner. Let's suppose he or she is the school student or whatever, they are already into the development phase. So it is very easy, to twist, or you can say to strategize what traditional methods you are using. Okay. Now the question arises, how to use it, how you can apply it, what are the practical implications? First is the phonological awareness. What is the meaning of phonological? Phono relates to sound basically. Phonological awareness is the ability to hear and understand the sounds correctly of any language. Let's suppose I'm speaking English. Then, as a listener, or let's suppose you are reading an article in English, phonological awareness is the ability in which we are able to hear and manipulate the sounds of any language. It is a kind of bridge. Phonological awareness is a bridge between the letters and to the sounds, right? It's a kind of bridge between letters and the sounds, right? So whenever you are teaching the students, you can always do small sound drills whenever you are starting with the QSR segment, right? You can simply say cat, bat, Batman, just giving you random example. So this is going to be phonological awareness drill. You are speaking the word, and is the child able to recognize those words, right? And over weeks, if you continuously do such kind of drills with your students, they are going to help them in the long run also. So phonological awareness is something, which is the practical implication of this cognitive state of reading. Second one is the vocabulary building. The second practical implication is the vocabulary building. Here I am particularly talking about reading, so please keep the context to reading only, okay? Now see, vocabulary is not about knowing the words or their definitions. It is basically, now here, what is the meaning of vocabulary? It is not, knowing the words and describing their meanings or something like that. This is knowing the usage patterns, knowing, what are the different conceptual networks that are being used, or how I am linking my existing thing to the prior collected knowledge. Now, for example, let's suppose how vocabulary is usually taught. Now I'm writing a word mitigate, right? Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of mitigate? Anybody? Anybody present in the session who can tell me what is the meaning of mitigate? In my sessions, I encourage interaction, okay? And these sessions are 0% judgmental, right? So it's very childish thing that I'm saying, but I'm again saying whatever comes in mind, feel free to say. You have the freedom to say whatever comes in your mind, okay? We are here to discuss the things. I'll be telling you, okay, if you say something that this is the better approach, okay, whatever comes in mind, you can simply say. Now see, if let's suppose you are teaching vocabulary to the student, that is word is mitigate. Mitigate basically means to reduce the complexity of something, okay? Now instead of saying this thing, if we give 3 sentences from 3 different fields. First, let's suppose one example can be from law, second can be medicine, medical line, third can be advice. One can be an example of law, second example can be some medicine or medical example, and third can be an advice. So these are the 3 contexts in which 3 different things I'll be telling the student, and automatically these act as the memory triggers. Just giving you light insights that what are the practical implications of that, okay? So therefore, vocabulary building, that's going to be the greatest advantage whenever we are practicing different kinds of techniques, because we are strategizing the approach towards the study. Next comes the active engagement. Now, what is active engagement? Often we think, as I told you in the beginning of session, we think that reading is basically a kind of passive activity. You are sitting anywhere, you just start or open the book and start reading. You can always do the reading, but it is not so. See, reading is equal to coordination of the brain organs. You might have seen so many videos in which they are just flipping the pages in certain seconds, and they are able to get the idea what the book is about. This is practically possible. It's not magic, it is nothing, but it is the neural coordination. What we call it in terms of memory, we call it as the neural coordination. So one more thing also I would like to point out, during our sessions as they progress, so you will also listen so many science related terminologies related to memory from it, because this is because I worked with the neurosurgeons also. So there all these terms that are used, or even you start to develop going through some journals or the studies related to memory science, and also these would be helpful for you also. Okay, so we call it as the neural coordination, which we call as reading. What is neural coordination? Whenever there is active engagement of major systems of our understanding. First, questioning. Second, summarizing. Third one is the predicting. Right? This is called the 3-2-1 rule. Okay, I tell you one very important thing, which is not related to today's session, but yes, important. 3-2-1 rule. What is this? 3 key points. I repeat, 3 key points, 2 questions, 1 application. Whenever something is understood in this way, I repeat, 3 key points or 3 definitions, 3 formulas, whatever you want to learn, 3 key points, 2 questions related to that, and 1 application of that. Right? 3-2-1. So this routine further strengthens not only the reading but also comprehension also. 3-2-1. This is more of related to understanding, and more of related to a memory practice also, which we call 3-2-1 rule. 3 key points, 2 questions, 1 application. This forces the prefrontal cortex integration to the inner deeper networks of the brain. This is the science behind it, why 3-2-1 rule is followed. Okay, lastly, the distractions are minimized. Now whenever the reading is performed as a coordinated activity, or there is a coordination, so the distractions, they are minimized automatically. Okay, practical tip here I would like to give you: use short duration reading practices. I again repeat, never start your reading practice with any of the student. Let's suppose you are saying 40 minutes of reading or 40 minutes of reading session. No, don't do this thing. Practically it should be short focused blocks of practice. Ideally keep it around 20 minutes. That's more than enough. Now we will not ask the students to do the hard work. We are asking the students to do the smart work. Ideally the sessions for the reading practice of the students should be 20 minutes, around 20 minutes, 25 minutes, or sometimes 15 minutes. That's totally fine. Okay, this is going to automatically minimize the distractions, because human brain is programmed in this manner that if you make students sit for very long duration, their mind is naturally has this tendency that it is going to fumble here and there, it is going to go here and there. So keep to in order to minimize the distractions, keep the session duration around 20 minutes. Okay, this would be more than enough, and this would be practically more approachable. Okay, now next, this was the cognitive neuroscience behind reading. What organs are involved practically, what are the things, what are the functionalities, how readings are practically applicable in the learning also. This was part number 1. Now theta state activation for subconscious reading, that's going to be, this part is little bit more of the magical thing. Basically theta rhythms are basically the brain oscillations, and it is a state of brain in which our body and mind is totally relaxed. I repeat, what is theta state? Theta state is basically, or theta waves are the waves or the state of the brain or our mind in which we are in the relaxed attention. Okay, now relaxed attention, basically we are relaxed also, but at the same time we are attentive also. Now the question arises, what is theta state activation for subconscious reading? Now theta state, basically it refers to the power of theta oscillations. See, we have different kinds of waves: alpha, beta, gamma, theta, right? Roughly, if you talk generally, the frequency of the theta waves are generally 4 to 8 hertz. Hertz is the unit of waves frequency. So generally the range of theta waves are 4 to 8 hertz. Okay. Now, theta state activation for subconscious reading, it refers to an intentional practice of bringing your brain into the theta wave frequency while engaging with the reading material. I am keeping my brain relaxed also, but yet my brain is fully engaged in the reading also, right? It has certain steps to do. It's a like meditation, right? It would be a good reference. This is going to be a like meditation. Now, the idea is basically to bypass some of the conscious analytical processes which are in beta state, and we allow the information to be absorbed more directly. This is what we do in the theta state. Now, what are the steps in theta state? As I told you, it's related to meditation. As in meditation state, we are not sleeping, but yes, we are totally at comfort, we are totally relaxed, but yes, we are conscious. Okay, this is a kind of similar state. Now, what are the steps to activate? See, this is going to be very important whenever you are going to start your speed reading practice of any technique with the students. The first session should always be about the theta state activation. That's very important. Okay. First is the preparation, that takes around 5 minutes. Okay. Quiet environment, comfortable posture, water should be there, which we call hydration, and choose the appropriate material. Okay. Preparation, basically, these 5 minutes are going to set the stage. Ask the students to switch off their phones or keep their phones your on what you call that silent mode and flip. Keep them away. Okay. Now, what you need to do is ask them to be relaxed, sit in a comfortable posture, in on cross-legged on the chair or whatever, sip some water and choose the material that they want to study. Now here, this is going to be very important. Directly never start with something. Let's suppose I am a sort of person who likes reading self motivation books. Okay, if I am your student and you are going to train me for speed reading, don't give me a novel to read. Try to understand this thing. If my liking is towards reading comics, my liking is towards reading motivational books, or I like reading maybe story books or whatever, do not give me novels to read. Start with the interest of the child, which we call choose the appropriate material, choose the correct material. Okay, this is the preparation that takes 5 minutes of time and sets the stage that what I want to do. Now comes our next step, which is set your intention. Before start reading, mentally state the purpose of reading. Every student who is trained with QSR, after 5 minutes of the foundation or the base that we form for the reading practice to take place, ask the students to say, I intend to absorb this information deeply and effortlessly. When they are sitting very comfortably, they have taken a sip of water or something, then ask the student. You can just write down this line also if you are making notes or if you have your pen paper with you. I intend to absorb this information deeply and effortlessly. Or the another line can be, I am open to new insights from this text. Whatever is comfortable for the students to connect to, you can always say them. You can always use something in your own language also. It's not like I have given this line so that's it. Basically, a student saying this kind of thing, this statement, basically it gives the signal to the prefrontal cortex part of the brain that I am going to get the idea, or I am going to absorb this information very deeply and effortlessly also. My efforts are going to be very less, right? This is setting the intention. First step is the preparation, which is for 5 minutes. Next is not even take 1 minute of time setting intention. So this step is the set your intention. Now comes the next step towards reading, which we call as the soft gaze. Usually how the students are taught to read, if you are to read this book, if you are to read this chapter, sit on your study table, open the book and start reading. No, this is wrong approach of traditional reading. Instead of focusing intensely on each word, what will a student do? Because he or she is, given the guidelines, or it is the order of the teacher or whatever parent, that okay, you need to read this chapter, start reading from line number 1, and you will not get a break, you will not get up until you complete this entire chapter or 50% of the chapter. This is the wrong approach, mark my words. Focusing intensely on each word as you might be in beta state, this basically is a wrong approach. What should be the first step towards reading is the soft gaze. Allow the peripheral vision to become active. What is peripheral vision? In the coming sessions, I'll be telling you in detail. Do not strain your eyes. Any text given to, let's suppose I am the student, any text given to the student, don't ask the child to read. Ask the child to do a soft gaze, right? Soft gaze means just softly, without pressurizing the brain, without pressurizing the eyes, look at the text in front of you. Just try to pick automatically the things that are being picked, okay? Some people find it helpful to move their eyes in a less linear fashion. If I give you one page and I ask you just to give a soft gaze, somebody will go top to down, somebody will follow this pattern, okay, this like this like this, somebody will go like this, then afterwards like this, or whatever. You are just scrolling your eyes across the page. This is the first step towards reading, not starting the reading in first step. Right now, why? Whenever you ask the child, or whenever you start reading something right from line number 1, and you are just reading it religiously or intensely, you are giving signal to the brain, and automatically the cognitive load in the brain increases. The mental load in the brain automatically increases. This is wrong thing. First step of reading is always the soft gaze. Get the essence of the page, get the essence of the text that is given to read, and naturally, I would say normally and naturally, allow the brain to pick, allow the eyes to pick whatever is picked naturally. No focus of understanding, no focus of comprehension, no focus of reading it thoroughly. This is the first step, okay, which we call as the soft gaze. Now, afterwards, guide the students to trust the subconscious and release the control. I always emphasize my sessions begin with the theta state activation, because this practice is, doing miracles in the lives of children. Even, small school going kids, or, any college student or whatever, theta state activation before studying, before reading, before preparing for exams is doing miracles in the lives of the students. So you also do the first session of this. Ask the students to let go the urge to consciously analyze each word. I just told you, ask them, you should not consciously analyze each word. There is no need of understanding or reading or nothing like that. Don't worry if you don't consciously grasp every detail. While you are doing soft gaze, ask the student, if you do not get let's suppose not get 50% of even the idea, don't worry about that. So basically, letting go the micro editing means micro reading we are not doing in the first step. Afterwards, one more very important instruction: whenever any reader is doing the soft gaze on the text, avoid rereading of sentences. There should not be any rereading. Let's suppose I am just doing the soft gaze, I'm going back to the same line. No, don't do this. If you find yourself drifting, gently bring your attention, back to the text. If during soft gaze, many students have, given me their input that, whenever we are doing soft gaze, we start thinking something else. This is very natural. So whenever this thing happens, or your students say that, okay, we are, experiencing this, ask them to consciously bring back the attention to the text, whatever they have given. So do not reread the sentences. resist the urge that if you don't understand anything, okay, I don't know, I'm not getting anything, nothing, no understanding, no comprehension, no forceful reading. Trust the subconscious and release the control. Now I have here knowingly skipped after this kind of thing, this soft gaze. There is the step of actual reading. I have skipped that step in the first session because in this step I'll be going to tell you about different reading techniques, right? Now let us assume after soft gaze the student has read the text. I again repeat, after this step of releasing control and trusting the subconscious, then actual reading takes place. And this reading I am going to tell you in the coming sessions different techniques, so I have skipped this step for today. I am assuming, and we all must assume that reading is done, whatever text or whatever book was given to the child. Now post reading practices should be always there for 5 minutes. What are they? After the reading session, ask the students to close their eyes for few moments, and whenever the students after reading they close their eyes, automatically if there was some graph, there was some name, there was some diagram, there was some picture, all these things automatically pop up in the brain of the reader. Then ask them whatever comes in mind. Let us suppose I give you an academic example, that I just followed this practice and read about photosynthesis, right? Photosynthesis, or even let's take one more simple example. Let's take the example water cycle. I think water cycle is very common example for all of you. So let us assume I followed these practices of water cycle and I read that. After reading, when I close my eyes, some clouds will come in my brain, some water ocean will come in brain, rain will come in brain, something like that. Whatever these things are flashing, whatever terms, whatever visuals, whatever things are flashing after reading, closing the eyes, ask the student to jot down all these things on a paper. After every reading practice, ask them to write down their ideas or any question that popped up or whatever. After writing this, ask them to open their eyes and review the material briefly. This is a 5 minutes practice that should be done post reading. Okay, so now after finishing, this is going to be a kind of free writing process. Whatever naturally comes in the brain, whatever insights come in the brain, I am just penning that down. Okay, now let's talk about some key takeaways. Now the key takeaways after this kind of practice are based on a principle, are based on a rule which we call as ambiguous forgetting curve. Okay, now what is this thing? Now imagine you attended a workshop, or you just finished a detailed report of your job or your school or office or whatever. After we are just quite new to something we have read, we feel like, this is the human tendency, we feel like we have absorbed everything that I have read, okay, I have understood everything. But then a day later or a week later, when you try to recall the key points, you suddenly feel very fuzzy, or you suddenly don't remember anything. Why this happens? This is due to ambiguous forgetting curve. What is this curve? Is like, whenever you read something, let's suppose read something, I am taking the adults example, or any child who studies any topic of any subject, be it maths, science, social science or whatever. Now what actually happens is, initial day of learning, which is our day number 0, you have just learned something new, so you feel like I remember 100% of that. Okay, now after a few hours, what happens? You just remember 50 to 70%. You are going to remember 50 to 70% after few hours. Okay, one day later or diminishes to 30 to 40% only, and a week later it is even less than 20%. That is why revision is important. Usually the students are always told, okay, your exams are coming, start revising. You are in your board classes, 10th 12th, or your some entrance exam is coming, start revising. but nobody is telling what is the logic behind that. Now, one more myth I want to clear to all of you. Usually, it is said that, a student, if he or she is, let's suppose, not able to perform, let's take this situation, then the parents, the teachers, or whomsoever, comes to know that he or she is just scoring 30%, just scoring 50%, they say, study more. Or they say basically his mind is actually not that much quick, his mind is basically not that much intelligent. This is the wrong approach. Human brain has the natural tendency, be it any age group, if you have learned something recently, it will be in your brain. You will feel, it's like, everything is in my brain. After few hours, let's suppose a student goes to school, first session is at 8 o'clock or 9 a.m. in the morning. It was a maths session, the student understood everything. But as the day progresses, second session, third session, fourth session, after few hours only 50 to 70% is left in the brain. This is the natural working of human brain. Nobody is not intelligent, nobody is a weak student, nobody is like he's very intelligent, he is very bad at studies. This parameter is not there. Every student is equal. So it's not the theory that you listen every student has equal brain, every student is blessed with the same brain. What is the logic behind that? The logic is that human brain is naturally programmed in a manner that after few hours we are left with 50 to 70% of what we have read or what we have studied. One day let's assume passed, a day later it's only 30 to 40%, and after 1 week it's even less than 20%. This is the reason that when the students are not taught in a structured approach, in a structured manner, they are not advised, they are also not made aware that what should be the strategy of studying, what should be the strategy of reading or remembering anything. Until unless they are not trained in this manner, every student is a failure. Only the toppers, they are different from the students who are not able to score well, is their strategy. And all such things are going to be the part of this training program that you have started basically from today onwards, right? What is this curve? This is the curve which we call as the forgetting curve. Now, this curve is not the destiny of any student, it's a kind of mapping. I'm again repeating, I usually say to all the parents, also all the educators who come to me, this curve is not the destiny of the child, this is the mapping of the child. Now, how, for example, let's suppose a student attends a session at this point. Okay, 100% clear. Okay, I was able to understand. As the time goes, this graph goes down, 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 right? So therefore, if there are regular intervals of revision, when should the revision be there? I'll be telling that also in the coming sessions, right? I'll be telling that also. So if there are small revision sessions with proper strategy, with proper structuring, then this graph will not be deteriorating. This would be a stable graph of understanding. Small interventions are there if in the traditional learning of the students the big retention is the by default outcome, right? So therefore these were the two segments that were the part of today's session. First is the cognitive neuroscience of reading, and I told you the entire scientific terminology behind reading, functionality, organs, practical applications, and what is theta state activation, and the foundation process of reading, right? So this was our session for today, and I think this was valuable for all of you. Now over to your questions.
Hello.
Yeah, you're audible. Any doubt, anything you want me to repeat, or any question from your side?
No questions because I am not aware about this cognitive science. So right now I am grasping what you are means the session. I am grasping it.
See,
But
Hemant,
one query I wanted to know the how 3 months program give the insights about that. How will be our 3 months journey?
How will be our 3 months?
Journey, our
Okay,
session.
how,
Yes.
all right.
Today you completed the two topics, right? Reading
Hmm.
and that topic. But I just wanted to know how this for everybody. I'm asking question from everybody's side. How the 3 months session will go step by step, the journey.
Yes, I tell you, Hemanji, today was the first session, so therefore the base of science behind that and the initial stage of starting this journey, which is theta state activation, need to be was to be delivered. Now
Yeah.
there are going to be 3 segments: QSR first one, note taking second one, memory techniques third one. And first 2 segments will have 10 different techniques, and there are going to be 50 memory techniques. Since our segment number 1, which is the quantum speed reading, that is 70 to 80% of technical theory. Okay, 70 to 80% technical theory is there. So what I will be proceeding ahead is, one day I'll be keeping, let's suppose today we just started, next session I'll be keeping for QSR, and the third session I'll keep it for some memory technique. Then again we will be coming back to the QSR part, right? And then I'll be blending it together with note taking, so that this journey does not seem monotonous.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you. And I just wanted to know what you say. One quote you said, EWFA. I didn't understand that.
EWS?
What somewhat you spelled EWFA or something that was.
Okay. I think when you reconnected, I think 1 second. This is VWFA.
Oh, VW. Sorry.
Okay, I tell you.
VWFA.
Yeah, Hemanji, this slide, I think you got disconnected. I told everybody this is something additional that you will find in maximum sessions, because as a memory trainer, as a teacher, you are undergoing this program. So therefore, what is the brain science behind it? What are the brain organs involved basically? So you must be aware of all of that. So that is why. And please note, Hemanji, one more thing also, these things are not to be taught to the students. This is just for your understanding. And let me just now tell you what is VWFA. See, I gave you the example. Whenever we start reading, let's suppose these are the 2 words. One is the key and second one is the brain. What is the first step of reading? My brain is going to see the pattern, or the kind of the kind of words are written over there, like it is KEY, the pattern my brain is going to recognize. Then it is going to tell me it is key, it is brain. So this kind of word detector, I told you VWFA is called the word detector of the brain. So this is going to be the first step in which this segment of the brain is activated. Whenever we recognize the pattern, let's suppose you are reading the newspaper in English, you are just going through a headline. The first thing is, whatever is written in that headline, the kind of words are used, the kind of language used, that pattern recognition happens. This is done by VWFA, right? This is again, the things that are related to science, but yes, as an educator, it is important for, okay, you got that, all right. So as a trainer, my purpose of including these is not to add complexity to the course, but my purpose of adding this is, even after completing the course, let's suppose you are reading something related to memory, and there you see a word prefrontal cortex, you should not be blank that I don't know what is this. If you read VWFA, visual word form area, so you should not be blank that what is that, just to give you ideas that I have included these kind of things in the sessions. Okay, all together you will be taught with the 70 different kinds of methods we have. You can simply say in your curriculum there are going to be 70 chapters, and this was just chapter number 1 to today. Okay, just the brain science behind it and what is theta state activation. Okay, so Murli ji, anything you did not understand or you want me to repeat or something, just let me know. Please unmute. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Can you explain about the theta state and its benefit, ma'am?
Theta state, you want me to re-explain?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll do that. 1 second. let me just go back to that page. Yeah. So I am starting with this thing. What is theta state basically? See, there are different kinds of waves: alpha, beta, gamma, theta, right? So as there are different frequencies of different waves, so one of the waves is theta waves, and they have the frequency 4 to 8 hertz. Basically, this is the frequency of theta waves. Now, theta state of brain is a state of brain in which the brain is totally in ease. Our brain is totally in the comfort zone, totally relaxed, but yet it is attentive. I again repeat, the brain is in the comfort zone, my brain is totally relaxed, but it is attentive. Or you can relate the theta state to the state of meditation. Whenever somebody is meditating, if you guys do meditation, whenever we sit in meditation, what happens? Our body, our brain is totally at ease, but we are still conscious. This is called the theta state, right? Now, this is basically, the idea. What is the idea behind this? To bypass the conscious analytical processing and allow the information to be naturally absorbed. This has been found in different researches and in different studies that whenever the mental state of the learner and the reader, why I am using two things: if I am a student, I am going to prepare my chapter; if I want to work on my reading skills, I am a reader. If I want to work on any of these, if I bring down my brain to the theta state, my learning, my reading automatically enhances to certain extent. It's not magic, but yes, it is a kind of, magical state. Now, how to activate? First is the preparation. For that, preparation is opt for a quiet environment, sit comfortably, take 2-3 sip of water and choose the appropriate material. If I like reading certain kind of books, particularly I'm talking about reading, I'll be picking my favorite or my favorite genre of books. Okay, this is the preparation. Afterwards, what I need to do, I need to set the intention. Before actually start reading anything, I am going to say to myself that I intend to absorb this information effortlessly, very comfortably, and I will be going, deeply into this thing. I am setting my intention. Then comes, the first step towards reading, which we call as the soft gaze. I told you, no intention of understanding, no intention of, going line to line, understanding word to word, just to get the essence of what, I am trying to go ahead in my reading state. This is called theta state activation. Now, tell me, Murli ji, is it clear to you?
Yes, ma'am. And another thing, it is possible to return theta state more time, because
Yes.
from your word, after some time it moved to beta state, beta state, from theta
Right.
state to beta state, right?
Right.
So if you stay in theta state, it would be great, right, ma'am?
Yes.
But how do we retain theta state? Because in brain, right, sometimes we can control. After we can concentrate and focus on our work. After few minutes, a lot of thought process will occur, right, ma'am? So how we retain our theta state?
I tell you, ideally, I told you the duration to keep it around 20 minutes, right? So whenever it seems that, my mind is now diversifying, or, I am unable to be in the same state, always go for the breaks. 5 minutes of breaks between the regular practices. If you are asking your students to practice regularly, let's suppose you are conducting 3 back to back sessions, keep them 15 to 20 minutes. 5 minutes of give them the break in which they can do whatever they want, then again bring back to that. This is the natural tendency. We will not force the brain into something. We will be working what is the natural functionality of our brain. Keep it for 20 minutes, give them a break, then again 20-minute session or 15 minutes of reading, then again take 5 minutes of break. Likewise, you should do the things.
Okay, that's fine, ma'am. But suppose in 5 kids are there, right, ma'am? So 2 kids are in naughty kids. So they distract their self as well as others as well. How do we handle that situation?
How do you handle that situation? In terms
Yes,
of
ma'am.
reading, you are asking me?
Sorry, ma'am. What you ask? Sorry.
In terms of reading, you are asking me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So 15 or 20 minutes we read in a theta state, right? Some naughty kids. So definitely after 10 minutes they distract themselves. They distract other kids as well. Okay,
Right.
how do we handle them?
Right. I tell you, this is a very common thing that happens. Not every kid is sincere. There are some kind of, kids that are going to create nuisance, or they are naughty. They are not allowing others to focus also. In this, the best practice that brings the result is the appeasement. What is appeasement? Is that whenever you are training the kids for, I will particularly talk about reading only. Whenever you are training the kids for the reading, keep little accomplishment tasks for them. That can be the appreciation, that can be the appraisal, that can be, writing the three toppers name on in front of the entire group, that these are the three toppers. Or a student who is dedicatedly doing that, rewarding them. Reward system works the best whenever this kind of situation comes. See, naughty children can never be handled in kind of, impulsive treatment, or you become very strict with them, or punish them or something like that. This situation is best handled by the reward system. It can sometimes be, certain kinds of can be some product rewards. Certain times it can be the self appeasement. Certain times it could be their appreciation. This way, it is the only way in the initial stages when you can handle the kids. And moreover, this is only the theta state activation. There are so many reading approaches that are basically, can never be practiced if the child is not attentive. Because we will be maintaining the log sheet of every child also, that what was the speed initially, after 10 days what is the speed, after 10 days what is the speed. There are going to be certain reading techniques in which 100%, not only 100%, 200% of the mind attention should be there. So the child hardly finds, any 1-2% of this nuisance and all is totally acceptable. But the reading strategies are planned in such a manner that the child is totally involved into the task. And to handle such kind of students, reward system works the best. This is, proven thing.
Okay, that's fine. In this case, breathing exercise will help them, ma'am.
Sorry?
Breathing exercise will help them.
Um,
Because from your word, so moving to the theta state, one step is intake water, right? So water, it contains of oxygen. It goes to brain, purified air and purified water, our brain requirement. So
Okay.
if we do breathing exercise, it will help help to move theta state, or it will not help, ma'am.
See, if you are talking in general, 8 to 9 deep breaths automatically moves the brain to the theta state. But in case a learner or a child is super active, for example, nowadays autism is very common among
Correct.
So
You are right.
what is autism basically? This is not related to memory, it's related to psychology field, so I'm just explaining. So what is autism? It is not a disease. This is basically a child who has autism. His or her brain is functioning faster than as compared to normal students. So what happens is, if the brain is naturally working faster, and you give something slow to that child, these are going to be opposite things, and they are not going to attract each other, they are going to repel each other. Because if my brain's tendency is to do things quick, and I get something very slow to do, I will not accept that. For such kind of kids, give them the activity in which more brain is involved, because this is going to be their natural tendency. So all the students, or all the students you are going to train or whatever, once you figure out that this child's brain works faster, so the warm up activities should be even faster. For that, you can give them shuffled words to rearrange in a pattern. You can give them shuffled numbers and speak out the digits, so they quickly create the digits. This should be the warm up for that category of kids. For the remaining normal functionality brain students, this 8 to 9 breathing, or you can say 7 to 9, in the range of 7 to 9 deep breathing with eyes closed, is the perfect exercise to get them into theta state.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
All right. All right, so this was our session for today. I hope this was productive for all of you. And in case you have any query or something like that, you can always drop the messages to the coordinators also. They will, bring your queries to me, like my team, and we will be handling them, right? In case there is anything to discuss. All right, thank you, Hemant ji, and see you now, all of you, on Thursday at same time, 7:45. Thank you.